cover. Hang on. This is the big one. This is the big one.
Dreams. Broken. Still. When are they real? 1989, on a day when the earth did not sit still. It all came as a surprise, though it's perfectly natural. Crustal deformation. Movement of the tectonic plate causes crustal deformation near active faults. A fault is a thin zone of crushed rock in between two blocks of rock any length from centimeters to thousands of kilometers. But we want to know when. When is this deformation, this distortion, this upheaval? When is this going to occur? 3 years, 3 days, 15 seconds. So we can prepare. We are addicted to solid ground, addicted to security. Scientists develop techniques to measure crustal deformation. Strain meters, tilt meters, magnetometers, water level monitors. Geologists study rocks. All this to determine what is happening underneath the crust. Maybe it's that I didn't have a thick enough crust. I am a native Californian, raised by transplants. My parents moved from the Midwest, despite warnings from the family that they were going to drop off into the ocean. My dad had a job with a small computer company, IBM, in the Valley of Harvestal Light, now known internationally as the Silicon Valley. As natives, our silicon psyches had a predilection for destruction. What would get us first? The big one from above? The Cold War was in full swing, and the Silicon Valley was a natural target for the nuclear bomb. Or the big one from below. Seismic warfare. I am native, and that has its faults. Faults! They look like stretch goals. I grew up between the San Andreas Fault, the master, which causes over half of the earthquakes in California, and the Hayward Fault. Potentially along the San Andreas Fault, the Pacific Plate would slip away from the Eastern Plate, like a snap. You're pushing your fingers together, but friction keeps them from moving to the side. If you push hard enough to overcome this friction, your fingers move suddenly, energy is released in the form of sound waves, and what you hear is a snap. In the event of the big one, California would not only become an island, but Japan would crash into China. Growing up with this knowledge that we were living in the epicenter of world chaos, this was punk rock. Construct all your buildings on rollers so that they sway. Nail your knickknacks to the shelves. You design office chairs so that you won't crash your knees into the wall when the office building turns upside down. Go ahead! But in the end, you cannot prepare for this kind of anarchy. It's just a dry surf without a wetsuit. Hang on! Enjoy the mother ride. Kind of like having a baby. 1989, duck, hands above head to ward off moving or flying objects. Cover under our desks. Hang on to the furniture and travel with it in case it moves. Destination, door jam. I'm with this guy who's from out of state. He's from painted desert territory, grand land, arid like the moon. This is his first earthquake. He doesn't have a clue. I pull him into the door jam, and we jam. Alive, earthquake zone. We shake, we shiver, we tremble, we shudder. We quiver, we vibrate, we agitate, oscillate. Wave! We tremor, stir, ripple, flutter, and fluster. Jolt, jar, hubbub, pulsate, rout, and bustle. Flapjack, jerk, hitch, jolt, jar, jostle, rise, ball, wheel, shiver, flounder. Loma Prieta, October 17th, 1989, 5:04 p.m. Magnitude 7.1, depth 68. In lost up to 7 No, Marietta. The Marina's on fire. The freeway has collapsed. Holster's been swallowed. The Bay Bridge is cracked. Buck helmet pulled out alive. Then dies in the making of his movie. No, Marietta. And more than 70,000 aftershocks to go. It is now midnight. The power is out everywhere. The World Series is put on hold. Mama Earth has spoken. I go back to my buddy's dorm room. My buddy. We're budding. Wait! Suddenly overcome with a wave of rationale. I say, shouldn't we use a condom? I send him out to 7-Eleven. He comes back 2 hours later without the goods, not even a Slurpee. They wouldn't let him in unless he intended to buy batteries or water. Condoms are not an emergency item. We look at the moment. Moments have magnitude. Duck, cover, hang on, develops meaning for me. Shake it up, baby, now, shake it up, baby. Magnitude is the energy produced in your event, and not what you feel during the event. What you feel is very complex. Hard, long, short, gentle, jerky, rolling. Aspects of the motion are described by the peak velocity, how quickly the ground is moving, or peak acceleration, how quickly the speed of the ground is changing. A little release of stress never hurt anyone, right? Unlike volcanoes and floods, earthquakes are impossible to predict. I have slept with almost 100 people. I have still not grasped that hanging on to someone for one night while dropping the stress on one slipped fault increases the stress elsewhere. One earthquake sets up the next. Scientists can warn that there is enough pressure that is accumulating for the big ones. Advisories can say that there is an increased chance of an earthquake within the next 3 days. This does not mean that there is a likely chance of an earthquake in the next 3 days. This means the most likely time is now. And if we make it to the next 3 days without a quake, when it does come, it may not be the big one. When? Not if. That's comforting. So when Mother Earth decides to blow off some steam, she will. And that's as good as it's going to be. So who's to say when something's supposed to happen? I've been in Catholic school for 18 years. I'd survived life by getting perfect grades and getting my papers in on time. That was my kind of pressure. But in life, underneath my crust, my coat is toast. Softer material amplifies the shaking. The Marina District. Landfill. I have become so soft that when a quake does come, I crumble. I default. Finding out I am pregnant is like being told I have 9 months to live. I'm on my way to get an abortion, but my father owes $3.67 to the insurance company. That's when they begin their campaign. My mother starts collecting pictures of aborted feti. They say, it must be fate. Don't deny us a grandchild. We'll raise it together. It'll be fun. Yes, no, maybe not. My mind's become a parking lot. Thoughts pulling in and out. Only rear view mirror. I can see myself. Mary Wollstonecraft stands at the edge of a bridge. It is 1797, and she is carrying the baby who will later write Frankenstein. Layers of the dead coming back to life. 1, 2, 3, jump. It's not 1797. It's not that serious. I could walk away. But maybe my parents would prove to be right. Maybe it would be fun. I can feel my skin growing. I can feel my mind blowing. My body once one is now two. Moments have more magnitude than they've ever had. My cup size goes from a C to an H. I start developing a habit of talking to complete strangers and gleaning from them their family history. Old wives' tale. The Richter scale of gender determination. If it goes back and forth, if it's a boy. If it goes in a circle, it's a girl. It's a transsexual. It kicked. The doctor keeps trying to take the baby's heartbeat, but I can't stop laughing. He's waiting patiently, but I do not stop. For the next 9 months, I run and play and work at peak velocity. I've never had so much energy in all my life. This is liberating. I am a rebel of society. It is now past the due date. I keep having dreams that I'm giving birth to a plastic baby doll, a chocolate candy bar, a 7-Eleven Slurpee. I've never even held a baby. I take a road trip to California, out of California to Colorado to clear my head and throw up in the Rockies. Oh, this baby has the power of self-preservation. This baby knows how to travel with the furniture in case it moves. You're young. You'll be fine. But I had a friend of a friend of a friend who was in labor for 2 weeks. Back labor. She was on all fours. The baby was twisted around backwards, butting up against her spine. Finally, they had to induce. She didn't want a C-section. She wanted a V-back. The doctor gave her an episiotomy. Ooh, that's the worst. Snip. Better to tear naturally. Oh, doctors just like to cut to the chase. Get it over with. Go to lunch. Well, anyway, my friend of a friend of a friend, the doctor had to reach in his arm, grab the baby's head, twist it around, pull it through the pelvic opening and out! Oh, I would have died. People do die in childbirth, you know. Women still die in childbirth. Women still die in childbirth? The world is ending soon. Party on the moon. I have about 20 people in my room witnessing this birth. There's a constant game of Scrabble and Yahtzee. Videotaping, music from the Sex Pistols to Kate Bush to Showboat. My birthing partner has steam paint all over her. The baby's father, face green from chain smoking, is so scared that he brings in a Jesuit priest to accompany him. This is the end of my world as I know it. No drugs. Natural birth. I want to feel everything. Pressed. My face. Slabs of bologna through a grinder. Oh, please. There was a woman in the hall screaming. Ah! Get it out! Get it the fuck out! Each time she screams, I know that her contractions are at peak velocity. And the pain is ripping through her. Her screams help me hang on, stay on top of me. Just as I think it's about to get so bad I can't take it anymore. It subsides. Head cheese, pollywog sausages, jelly beans. Release. Moving against priest, but Jesus Christ. The doctor keeps screaming, no more people. This is not sanitary. People start arguing about who's going to be there in the final moments. Mommy's choice. You. Yahtzee! The pit bulls are locking their jaws in me. This baby Duck cover, hang on. This is the big one. Venison, feel victory! Then, he is. This thing, now me. Baby Prieta, January 10th, 9:59 p.m. Magnitude 7 pounds 11 ounces. Injuries, none. Bones damaged, none. Estimated dollar loss, yet to be determined. Only my youth. The night before I went into labor, I wrote myself an obituary. It's a very lonely feeling knowing that you're never going to be alone at the end. The doctor hands me the baby. Here's your little burrito. That's it. We'll call him lunch. What am I supposed to do with it? She said, try nursing him. Red baby, it's a dark cave. Enter our world. Red baby, the world is cold. Come into the hands of a surgical soldier. Arms like an alien, hands like a hydra. Red baby, world. What does the morning star mean to you? Can you imagine the cement steps you've fallen into? Up and down, you learn a song years later. You drug his tears like a warm bath. Just a short drown, just a douse, just a dose of what it used to be. Red baby, come on, baby. Red baby, it's fine now. Come on, baby. They want me to hand you over now. Are you trembling underneath your leaf? Is the light dangling over you? Soon your mind will be made up, made down, made for you, like an army bed. Looking for God with tweezers, picking them out of an ice cube in the freezer. But God got edited out on the cutting room floor. I'd like to pick up the pieces, but he got too big for the screen. He should have stayed with his stage career. Hey, baby boy, put your feet on the floor and bend to the popular rhythm. Mama's out back with her head in a sack, lying in the fourth dimension. Underneath your leaf, light dangling over you. Soon your mind will be made of takedown, made for you, like an army bed. Red baby, come on, baby. I know the world is cold, but hold down it for too long now. Sucking, chewing, raw. Lord, switch sides. Mama had a baby and her head popped off. The postpartum party had to die down. After a year, the frequency and durations of Lunch's dad's visits decreased. He and I were only meant to share the main shock together. 15 seconds. I would have to face the aftershocks on my own. But at night I would dream that he would kiss my sorry back. I've tried in vain to gain your affection. Oh, I know I expect too much of you. You're really doing all that you can do. Oh yeah, I know it'll all make me stronger. suburbia. Lunch is almost talking sentences. His favorite word is sandwich. He wears shoes that my brother had. He plays with toys that I had. My mother buys him cute things to wear, but they're too small. His sweaters are riding up his belly. He looks like a tramp in a Charlie Chaplin movie. She buys them because they are 69 cents. He has a good arch through his feet. I think he'll be a ballet dancer. I am slipping into the fault. I thought by giving birth, I was giving birth to being a woman. My childhood is endless. I'm crying. I'm gonna send me to my room 'cause I'm a baby. And I want you, baby. And you're gone. I'm crying. I want what I want, and I want it now. Gonna have myself a howl. Nothing will satisfy me. No one will pacify me. You better institutionalize me. I'm crying. I want forever, and forever is now. I don't want to cool down. I don't want to chill out. This is not my beautiful house. This is not my beautiful life. Same as it ever was. Lunch plays drums on my chest. I say no, tactful. He plays harder, probing me with his eyes. I tap him back. He is stunned. Guilt. I rub his chest gently. He starts to cry. He starts to bawl. Pick him up and sit on my lap. And this rocking's gonna soothe you from outside or from in. You gotta be rock solid from within. I didn't mean to apply to graduate school in New York. But who knows? It might be fun. My father warns me about out there, pointing his finger near my nose. Out there will be no lighthouse ushering you back in, boats swallowed by fog, crash against the rocks. Out there are the poisonous people, symphonic on sound, iridescent in sight, but in actuality slimy flagellants that tether around your legs, nettle your flesh, inject your body with reeking toxins until only the bitter taste of vinegar will bring you back to life. Do I prefer the taste of vinegar? Disappearance of wildlife is a major sign that a quake is coming. There is no wildlife here. Lay me down, lay me down. I'm feeling proud, oh so proud. My spirit is rising, I just know she is coming out from under cover. I let go my parents' hand. Let the waters rise. I will not be underneath. Somehow I have to believe, even in utter wicked, drowning gasps of desperation, even in the middle of the night at high tide, when unctuous waters threaten to scatter me for sport. I hope that in letting go, in leaving, I will stay connected to something. In the living room, my parents secure the name tags to my luggage. In the car, silent as sand. At the airport, seasick, a dock flooded by night. We step onto the plane, sailing into the blinking night. By the sea, by the beautiful sea, you and me, oh how happy we'll be. I am not a native. I am a transplant. Yoko Ono said, if you leave things behind, you leave your spirit too, but if you don't leave, you age. I would live on the Lower East Side. Single parent capital of the world. So, the first thing I need is a baby stroller. I buy one off this homeless punk rocker for $4. He loves stroller piled high with clothes that match the ones he is wearing. He is wrapped in chains. I'm not sure if the chains are holding him down or locking him up. Sometimes when the clothes would slip off the top, he would scream, "Motherfucker!" And he would pick them up and put them on the top and quietly sing a tune. I am the Antichrist. He has what I need for cheap. He wants $5. I offer $4. Take it or leave it. He takes it. He piles his clothes into a bag that he finds in the gutter and waves goodbye. No one I meet wants to be roommates with a kid. This is adult city. Finally, we secure an apartment between C and D. The apartment has been made famous a few months earlier when a young kid disappeared at a party. The FBI agents come as often as the gas man and the exterminator. They dust the place, but we are clean. The cheaper babysitters live in the projects. At first, when I start taking lunch there, I think, this is a community. People conversing. Old men playing cards downstairs when the weather gets warm. Sure, it's more of a land scrape than a landscape. But what do I know? I'm from the Valley of Art's Delight. One building blends into the next, dirt and grime, it's all the same. I am used to new and user-friendly architecture. Wide open spaces, greenery, bathrooms with seat covers, wheelchair access, stroller access. At first, it isn't a problem getting into the building itself. Someone has rigged the locks so that any key at all would fit. Then, housing authority fixes the locks but neglects to fix the buzzer. So you wait for someone to come. Hi! Motherfucker! I find that in New York it is perfectly natural to throw a tantrum. Scream out of frustration. Beg, grovel, hurl insults at strangers. It resonates off the building. Passers-by may stop and inhale the purge. You don't have to make any apologies. When I first moved from an immigrant from California, I look people in the eye and I smile. They know I'm a greenhorn. It disarms them. I didn't even know I was doing that until someone had told me that I stopped. I developed a perfect scowl. This building has 3 elevators. Without fail, 2 are always broken. The one that does work does not go to every floor. Sometimes the lights in the elevator are broken or painted over black for the sole purposes of mugging or whatnot. There is a smell of piss and fear. The floods in the foyer are frequent. Then none of the elevators work and you have to wade through the water to get to the stairs. The stairs are creepier than the elevator. They're like a narrow rat maze without any windows. You can only see one leg in front of you. And you never know what's lurking around the corner. The babysitter lives on the 22nd floor. She has a gorgeous view of the East River. 1 a.m. Lunch is on my back, chatting away, sticking a cracker in my ear. A man and a woman come down the hall. The woman is slapping the man and laughing. The man looks at me but says to her, "I'm gonna hit you tonight." Anticipating a quake in the earth is different than anticipating it in human nature. They take the stairs. My elevator gets stuck on the 18th floor. Now I want out. I want the stairs. The doors open. I run down the stairs, 2 flights, panicking. Now I want the elevator. We wait. It comes. We get on. At the 15th floor, a man with dark glasses and a cane gets on. I freeze, clutching Lunch's tiny hand. The door closes behind him and he's locking the door. He is staring at me. Can he see? Then his corpulent hand comes towards me. Will you do me a favor, beautiful? Now, I don't know if I should flatter myself by thinking, well, he knows I'm beautiful. He can't be blind. Or if thinking I'm beautiful proves he's blind. Wrestling with my own musings on self-esteem. The man's question. Will you do me a favor, honey? Suddenly he is thrusting $1 in his pressed fist. Thrusting $1 towards me. Is he going to rape me and give me $1? I can hear the man breathing. I can't hear Lunch. Will you take me to the corner and buy a pack of cigarettes? Can you do that? The man is blind. He just wants me to lead him to the store. Suddenly I realize a shift in myself. I no longer see experience as an opportunity or an adventure. I can't see Lunch's face. Lunch? Lunch! His hand is cold. Lunch, baby! What? His presence relaxes me. He was conceived in a disaster. He knows how to behave in dire circumstances. The man grabs my arm. We walk. At the deli, 3 men come out. The tallest plants a pack of cigarettes in the man's hand. Hey, pay me tomorrow, big guy! Quick, surely. They are friends. They go way back. He could have thanked me. What was that? We find that the babysitter's son's throat gets splashed in the playground where they used to take lunch. We don't go back to those projects anymore. But without babysitting, I don't get a break. Lunch holds up a fork. The fork is God, he says. The fork is stupid. Snow. It is the worst winter that New York has seen in 62 years. It is the first winter I have seen that does not imply recreation. Where are the ski slopes? It's snowing and it's a whiteout. Lunch wants to go outside and play. I open up the window. Bring the snow inside, put it in pots, and we build a snowman in the bathtub. Oh. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Walking Lunch to school. He sees a lying figure on the ground next to the church. His body is wedged in between the bars. In New York, even the churches have bars to cut out the demons in the demand. The man is bound with bright, flashy fabrics, red fur across his forehead. He looks as if he's been hurled into this position. His eyes are closed. He is bound to the moment of solace. Lunch takes a stick and starts poking it in his face. Lunch! He's dead. He's sleeping. I urge him forward. We almost fall into an open cellar. Danger, danger, open cellar! Cellars like that would lead to the core of the earth in California. What is this child absorbing? Bars, metal, dog and human feces everywhere. Hard lines of buildings. Crack vials with colorful tops that look playful. Sidewalks that are abrupt. Turning the corner on Avenue A, we rock into a fight. I duck Lunch's hand. He sees the blood and says, is he going to go and cry to his mommy? You're a New York City boy now. We've moved east from California. And I hope that was cool with you, because I didn't really even ask you. You're a New York City boy now. You better keep those fingers off the ground. You better keep those fingers off the vials. And I don't mean the violin. Oh, I don't mean the to cut off my emotions, to assuage my longing for normal living. I mainline logs of cookie dough, sugar and chocolate, raw. I am eating my libido. 7 years bad luck. 7 years bad luck. The only thing to love me since you left me is chocolate. And I can't even cry about you, man. I'm frozen inside like Neapolitan. I'm the girl, you're the guy. We were supposed to leave me high and dry. I don't want to leave this world known as the Rocky Road Girl. Obsessed chocolate swirl. I stopped going to parties. Guess they're not that important. Stay at home, gorging on my glorious Oreos. I stopped wearing underwear. Nothing left to protect down there. Let it bleed all over. Just a trickle. That'll trick me that it's not all over. I want to be the 30s glamour girl, curled up on the couch with pearls and silk. No perils to melt me. Nothing scratchy down there. Nothing scratching down there. 7 years bad luck. 7 years of eating chocolate. 7 years stuck to surfeit. You're living off the fat. And I'm just getting fat. Gotta break this 7 year spell. 7 crunchy, creamy, crispy years of hell. Scrubbed into the ocean, surely from a chocolate box and from a chocolate tree. Cocoa is the drug for me. Sugar and spite agree with me. You denied my spirit. You denied me. You denied my spirit. I'll deny me. Bitter, bitter, bitter sweet. Heaven, heaven, heaven in 77. Eating my libido. Lovely speedo. I am a landfill. Poo-poo in the party. It's fun to go poo-poo in the party. We love to go poo-poo in the party training. Once I asked Lunch how it was. He said, nice. Can't pet it. Just look at it. Many know well where the sick people go when they're ill and the bowels are slow. But none know too well where the well people go when they want to stay well. It's a fair they call home. A fair, not for fairies and not very fair, but a fair just to say, you come with me there. Welfare. I apply for welfare. At first I tried telling them the truth. No ducking, no covering. That I'm in graduate school. That I'm working a little. Reviewing cute, kid-friendly restaurants. All I want is supplemental income. That is not a concept to them. The woman says, even though some of the recipients go to college, NYU is too rich of an institution. Hang on. So even though NYU is too rich, doesn't mean I am. I'm going to take those papers and I'm going to lie. That's what you want me to do. She just looked me in the eye and said, don't tell anyone you thought from me. I glean the system from other welfare recipients. There are no rules, nothing mapped out. Crawl, beg, grovel, be conciliatory. And so I do. I become what they want me to become. Hunched over some, callous, brittle, drooling, stuttering, using speech improper. I perfect my scowl. It is not a charade. It is a physicalization of the interior. And when I have earned that money, I got on my knees for this. It's the thin line that keeps me from spending it on booze and then explain out. A woman with a camera comes into the welfare center. She looks like me on the outside. Collegiate. She hides in the doorway, ducking behind a man she brings as a bodyguard. I almost want to invite her in. But she is from the outside. The other welfare recipients, they are my comrades. She snaps a shot. A man starts yelling, "Hey! You gonna pay me for that picture?" Another woman screams, "I'm gonna break that fucking camera in her fucking face!" The hostility becomes unpredictable. The woman hustles out of there. I oftentimes have wanted to interview the people that I meet. But I am not there to make a documentary. I am one of them. Yes! Give me my money, let me get the fuck out of here! I've got to get my fucking kids. Yeah, I'll see you at the next face-to-face. After a year, I have become a New Yorker. A Lower East Sider. An East Villager. An NYU student. I discover black clothes and coffee. Happy, happy coffee, the power of steam, the magnetic blur, the cure of the blur, the budding of fur. A stroller from the punker gets stolen. I'm walking on Avenue C to pick up my welfare money when I see 2 for sale. Of course, they've been stolen at some point. I see a leopard print one and a flower print one. I'm leaning towards the leopard persuasion. I've got my hands on it. This woman comes up, who talks to the man in Spanish, and buys it from under me. Hello! I need the stroller. Excuse me, that was very unscrupulous of you. It was obvious that I was buying the stroller. Tell the man that I will take it. Thank you. This does not go over. Finally, after screaming, "Bitch!" in her face, she's got a ready-made fist. She says, "I better never show my face in the neighborhood again." After more expletives, I say, "Hey, this is my neighborhood. We share this turf. I will take the stroller, thank you." My legs are shaking. I look at the gold rings on her fist. I decide to save my face. Coolly. She's still screaming threats and trying to get the neighborhood in. I gained an exhilaration from this confrontation. I wanted to fight. Coffee, happy. I'm Mommy, and I'm Lunch. It's the Mommy and Lunch show. Play the roommate game. Have hundreds of complete strangers come into your home. Make judgments. Assess damage control. What's behind that third door? Yahtzee! Roommates number 1 through 5, they still are a part of our lives. Number 6, she had a nervous breakdown because she was working for LaToya Jackson. The toy. Lunch called her the toy. Roommate 7, she was a piece. She was a Swiss miss wanted by the Swiss police. She was highly connected to Senator D'Amato. After she ran off, I found out she'd run a brothel when I was in California. Hey, roommate 8 was wanted for assault. He rented the floor for $100 a night. Roommate 9, don't remember her name. Who made this $50 phone call to Maine? Numero 10, a reflection of myself. Many late nights of rearranging the filth. Number 11 chose not to pay the rent. I went to the cops, but I couldn't get a cent. Get them out of my house! Get them out of my house! Number 12, just a dream. Number 13 was a closet queen. 14 and 15 played guitar non-stop. 16 had several panic attacks. 17 just moved in. He's announced that 18 is around the bend. I am convinced that I have brought the earthquakes from California. I have brought the fault within me. There is nothing to hang on to. Lunch hisses at me. Peter Pan doesn't need a father. Wolverines have single parents. They raise their young alone. Females are solitary drugs. I need a job. I need a connection. Coffee. got enough coffee in the world to keep me awake right now. There is nothing to keep my eyes open wide. The waves are getting wild. Shut out the devil, shut out the Lord. Don't know if I can take it in New York City anymore. It will never serve me well to get comfortable in hell. Complete silence. A rumble before the explosion. Cold on my arm. Beer near my neck. 2 egg yolks in the bed. Toothpaste all over the ground. Medicated powder. Lunch is pouring medicated powder between the pages of the books. I have to, Mommy. I have to. Never go in the fridge. He pours a cup of water on the table. He starts putting his fingers in it. He puts them on my face. Tears. No, I have none. Tears. He keeps trying to make me laugh. Do not make me laugh. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to play. Just once, just to see. I'd like the way to ease into me. Crack open a morning without the yolk. No. Just once, just out of curiosity. I'd like to wake up, not me, without mouth demanding ice cream pops, feet demanding shoes and socks, hands giving electric shock. Just once, I'm gonna kill that cock who doesn't know when to stop crowing. Rise and shine. Rise and shine. Just once, I'd like the birds to take a request, the car alarms to take a rest, the mice to stop their feeding fest, the drums to give up their sorry quest. No one's going to love them. Rise and shine. Rise and shine. Just once, and this is more than I can dream. I'd like to wake up with tenderness and mercy, who kissed my back gently. Just once, I'd like to wake up surprised and have the dreams of the night turn into daylight. I've still not recovered from the day's antics. After crawling around on the floor for an hour, Munch finally admits to flushing my contact lens down the toilet. He was trying to imitate me, put them in his eyes. After a while, I find him in the bathtub, silent, face red, his head against the faucet. He looks up at me. I'm a good boy, Mommy. Put a towel around him and rock him. Father's Day. It's Father's Day. Dad's in the park. I see Dad. Like they're kids. He calls me Mom, Dad. Let's get an ice cream instead. He asked me to draw Daddy on the chalkboard. I don't want to. Where is Daddy? Where is Daddy? He takes a piece of chalk and starts ramming it against the chalkboard. Yes, I've got it. Get it out. Get it out. He hangs his head. And all of a sudden he starts shaking his whole body. Shaking it out of him. Shaking it. He looks up at me and smiles. Bless him. push this rock up the hill. They come rolling down again. The more I crave intimacy, the more I am denied it. The more I am denied it, like a baby pushes me closer to the edge. Once, when somebody spent the night, sweet, sleepy babies rolled out into the kitchen. Lunch is said before, running his leg, hand up my leg. This is my castle. If you are a demon, then I have a feeling maybe we should talk. Maybe we should talk. If you are a demon, then I have a feeling with you I want to walk. Mothers just want to fuck. Mothers just want to grind. Mothers are not kind. Mothers don't want to be there to remind you. Mothers don't have time to mind you. Reaching out on top of you, stretch marks in full view, liquid gold dripping onto you. Well then, mama, much the wiser, call me a fraud, try to despise me, but I dare you to hold me. Yeah, I dare you to hold me. So if you are a demon, then you are a godsend. I'm tired of these men stuck within their brain stem, unable to attend, disabled by reason. Attention deficit. Mothers just want to unwind. Mothers are not kind. Mothers just want some. Mothers just want some. Mothers just want some love. We moved to a larger apartment, so Luncheon had his own room. Our energies collide. He says, I can read, Mommy. I can read people's minds. What does he read of me? He picks up a remote control called Other Mommy. He's obsessed with Other Mommy. He hangs up. Other Mommy's not home. She went to hang out. But Mommy is home! One earthquake sets up the next. Mommy is always home! I want Other Mommy! Shh. Lunch is sleeping. Before bed, he gave me a violin lesson. He stuck a paintbrush in my neck and took a highlighter pen and played. The shadows brighten up my eyes. Ladies with candles and senseless possibilities. Senseless possibilities of bikinis. Bikinis are mean. Ladies with candles, thicker. Thicker like a flicking fuck. My friend Flicker straddles fuck Caligula. Blackest day, bleeds and hollow in its way. Candelabras on the table, lit. Life is in a house. Gun is gone. Who can be sad if it was fun? Candelabras on the table, next to Beethoven. Shh! He doesn't smell his toes on fire. Take my bones, take my bones. I am very far from home. When my arms become paralyzed, I rock them. I have no more strength to roam. It is a rare virus. Muscles are deteriorating, leaving enzymes into my bloodstream. Problems beneath the crust. Anxiety underneath the mantle. Because it is cumulative, most damage happens at the end of the quick. My arms are swollen and heavy. I can't hold lunch. I cradle my arms instead. He cries to be carried. I go to get a mental status evaluation. They have me imitate children's drawings, move my arms, wiggle my fingers. Archaic. Diagnosis? Post-traumatic stress syndrome. What exact trauma are we talking about? Foreshock, main shock, aftershock? That lunch refuses to get dressed in the morning? I refuse to get dressed in the morning. He is a child conceived in a quake and raised in an aftershock. He has to learn to turn locks in the apartment. He calls himself Dad. For 3 months, his teachers have to help finish getting him dressed. I tuck the laces into his shoes, and they tie them. For the first time, I realized that survival is not ducking, covering, and hanging on. Survival is other people. Other people symphonic on sound, iridescent in sight. We start to build an East Coast family. I look people in the eye. Smile. I am disarmed. Lunch runs into the room. I'm not afraid of anything. Something was holding the tree in the forest. Something was holding my hand and cut it off. Then I ran and flying monkeys were chasing me. Then I came down and they were gone. And I told him my dream. That I thought I was going to turn into a broom, but I turned into a dustbuster instead. Oh yeah, you're amazing. You can draw my dreams. Oh yeah, you're amazing. We look at each other. We look at each moment. Solid ground is formed. How we've made it way past the predicted 3 days. The core of the Earth is 1,800 miles below the surface. Underneath my crust is love and hope. We join a garden in the springtime. I can hear you laughing above the crowded din. And maybe one day dear old Dad will come back to collect his kid. And maybe if that day should come, maybe we'll let him in. But for right now, you and I are it. Earthquakes will occur. When, not if, even if you put yourself in the most peaceful environment. Just gotta keep your legs steady. I stop anticipating when the next quake will come. I'm not made of stone, but I'm worn like a good pair of docks, like a good pair of jeans. Sorry, pretty baby, but Mom's got a new friend. Mom's stepping out tonight. Mama's destined to break out. Get her out of the covers, because though I still love you, I do. Mama's stepping out tonight. We'll find a means to pay the baby's. We'll survive the cracks, the gaps, quakes. On a recent trip to California, I'm in arms. I'm a rocking hat. This time Now no ducking, no covering, lightly hanging my lover's arms. The bed swayed. There are 200 fault lines under Los Angeles. My lover is not a native Californian. This is his first. Not being on home base for a while, this is my first. It was a handheld camera. Later that night, he says he wants to buy an earthquake survival kit. I'm a native! But who knows? Maybe it'll be fun. Flashlight, sturdy shoes, comfortable clothing, food liked by family, outgrown teddy bear, children regress under stress. Crowbar. With food, air, and water, we could live on the moon. But we would miss the shape. Quick. Shivering, the shuddering, the quivering, the vibrating, the agitating, the oscillating. Jolt, jar, hubbub, pulsate, route, bustle. Flapjack, jerk, hitch, jolt, jar, rustle. Ride, bob, reel, sway, waggle, and flounder. Flounder? Being online, clink song. said, have the baby. We'll raise it. The $3.61 baby's dad said, please don't have the baby, have an abortion. I'm a baby myself, I'm too fragile. My friend said, are you fucking crazy? Many people have abortions. It's okay. It's no big deal. I wanted one so bad. I wanted to be as courageous as the women who had had them. This baby had the power of self-preservation. This baby knew how to hang on to the furniture and travel with it. I loved being pregnant. I mean, I took Mama's classes, I was in a play until I was 8 months, I sang in a professional choir, and the night I was due, it was revelatory. My cup size went from a size C to a size H. H. But it was the first time in my life that I felt that I was really inside my body and that I didn't care what people thought of me. I had no idea what I was really getting into. I was in such denial. I kept having dreams that I was giving birth to a chocolate candy bar. A Slurpee, a plastic baby. In fact, that $3.61 baby came out a little bit faster than I wanted it to. I would have been happy being pregnant the rest of my life. The night I went into labor, I took long baths, sang karaoke, and wrote myself an obituary. Tonight, she dies. And someone new will be born to take her place. Oh, Peter, take my bones, take my bones, take my bones. I am very far from home. Oh, Peter, take my bones. I am a wolf in sad decline. I no longer have my mind. Buzzards swarming round my spine. Oh, Peter, it's the end of my life. I was never given a name. Wolf, they called me, wolf, I am. For my cunning I have paid. Oh, Peter, take my life. Oh, Peter, take my bones. I am very far from home. I have no more strength to roam. I was in such denial that I had about 20 people there to witness the birth. Party! It was the end of the world as I knew it. Let them eat cake! They played Scrabble while I walked around singing, Old Man, just keep rolling on. The baby's father came in. I hadn't seen him since the night before in 9 months. He looked kind of green. He'd been smoking cigarettes. He'd smoked about 5 packs while I was in labor. But he was there through it all. But when he brought a Jesuit priest into the room, I said, men, get out! No more men in here. My face, blotchy and red. My skin squished, stacked like slabs of bologna after it's been through a grinder! Release! This really isn't happening to me. This is happening, but not to me. I'm up there in the corner. Ooh, blotchy pie, deli sandwiches, polly-wong sausages, head cheese. Release. Birth. A fog of dogs is racing through me, trampling over every chaparral to get to its prey, its meat. To get to his meat, the dogs are running through me to get to the meat that's inside me. The meat is inside me. The meat is coming out my ass. The meat is coming out my ass. It's never gonna fit. Duck cover, hang on. This is the big one. Push. Venison meal victory. And then it was. I've known it was a boy from the psychic goddaughter. This thing, this 7-Eleven thing, 7 pounds, 11 ounces, this thing came out of me. The nurse wrapped it up in a little white blanket that looked like a little burrito. And she brought it to me, and I said, what am I supposed to do with it? She said, well, why don't you try nursing him? I freaked! Mom! Mom! grudges tears from you like a warm bath. Just a short drown, just a douse, just a dose of what it used to be. Red baby, enter out, baby. Red baby, it's fine now. Come on, baby. They want me to hand you over now. Are you trembling underneath your leaf? Is the light dangling over you? Soon your mind will be made up, made down, made for you like an army bed. Looking for God with tweezers, picking him out of an ice cube in the freezer. But God got edited out on the cutting room floor. I like to pick up the pieces, but he got too big for the screen. He should have stayed with his stage career. Hey little boy, put your feet on the floor and dance to a popular rhythm. Mama's out back with a head in a sack and lying in the fourth dimension. Ah! And you're trembling underneath your leaf as the light dangling over you. Soon your mind will be made up, made down, made for you like an army bed. Red baby, enter out, baby. Red baby, it's the world. Oh, come on, baby. Don't dally for too long now. I know it's cold. Red baby, it's the world. I don't believe in any of this inherent mother instinct crap. Bertolt Brecht, father of several illegitimates himself, said the potential of a mother lies in any woman that possesses impulsiveness, openness to experience, unusual energy, and disregard for the costs of responsibility. I had potential, but I hated responsibility. I resented it. Play. I like to be spontaneous. Duck, goose, duck. Okay, from the first, this kid hated me. I had respect for the being. He was wiser than me. I know he'd already been places that I hadn't been to. He was from the moon. But we would just walk around each other, look at each other. It was like two dogs sniffing each other from the other side of the corner. I moved back home with my parents. Imagine what this does to your sex life. But they're great. Before I got pregnant, though, to their knowledge, I was a virgin. My mother's Catholic and my father is Methodist. Sex does not exist. Only twice in my memory do I remember sex being mentioned. The first was when I came home from this drug dealer's house. I was 14. My mother grabbed me by the collar and said, "Sex at 14 is gross!" That was my sex time. The second time was when I was in college. We were all watching TV, the family glued to the TV, and I asked, "What kind of birth control did you use?" Because they were married for 6 years before they had me. And there was a pause. And my mother said, "Russian roulette?" But once you have a baby, it's no good trying to pull off this virginity persona. Then I became the confidant for my parents' sexual history. I did not ask for this. I learned that my Canadian-born, North Chicago-raised Methodist-turned-Buddhist father lost his virginity at a brothel in Cuba during his spring break. Picture this. I learned that my mother, in order to make my father jealous before they were married, went out with 3 West Point guys at the same time. And I learned that my mother had been conceived out of wedlock, and that my grandfather, who became a raging alcoholic the rest of his life, married my grandmother to save her from the stigma of having an illegitimate child. They don't put illegitimate on birth certificates anymore, thank God. Robert Johnson, the great guitarist, had on his birth certificate, "Legitimate?" Question. No. I don't like this. This baby was legitimate. This baby was real. And instead of calling his father's parents the in-laws, which I would have had we been married, I fondly called them the outlaws. And everything's okay. And we just say, Father Henry. I pass by the window, smile at my reflection. Not out of vanity, but out of affection. Now I'm not seeing you, your words are leather. My conversation gets buried in a feather. I don't really know you, but I guess it's your intentions. About the child, need I mention? He's our boy, whatever the weather. I just hope he can weather the weather. Weather, child. Whether the weather is cold or whether the weather is hot, we'll be together whatever the weather, whether we like it or not. So you don't really know me, but you stab at my intentions. I wonder if he can feel the tension. Oh yeah, I know I expect too much of you. You're really doing all that you can do. When the wind blows, he'll bend like bamboo. But don't think he's gonna bend for you. Blizzards, floods, 9 to 5. Many airplane flights. Without the child, would you pause at my reflection? I've tried in vain to gain your affection. He'll be fine, I know it's true. He'll be fine in spite of me and you. Oh yeah, I know it's all made me stronger. I just wish he could have stayed a little longer. Feather, weather, father. Leather, weather, mother. Whether the weather is cold or whether the weather is hot, we're tethered together because of bad weather, whether we like it or not. For 3 weeks, the burrito didn't have a name. For 3 weeks, as the party died down and the reality of my situation set in, we called him Lunch. Then one night, as he was lying in his father's arms, I had it. The name, the root of Western language, the root of this newfound love. Roman. Roman, you're so cool. You're my pride and joy. And Roman, you can be more than me. Roman, it must be hard growing up without a dad. You cry yourself to sleep with his picture in your hand, and maybe one day you'll understand why Mommy always seems so mad. Sometimes life just sucks so bad. But Roman, you've kept this egg from getting cracked. You're a New York City boy now. We moved east from California, and I hope that was cool with you, 'cause I didn't really even ask you. You're a New York City boy now. You better keep those fingers off the ground. You better keep those fingers off the vials. And I don't mean the violin. No, I don't mean the violin. Hallelujah, hallelujah, oy vey, hallelujah. Roman, I can hear you laughing above the crowded din. And maybe one day, dear old Dad will come back to collect his kin. And maybe if that day should come, maybe we'll let him in. But for right now, Roman, you and I are it. I got into graduate school and I moved to New York. I just jumped right in. I guess the urge for adventure, baby or not, had not left me. I mean, I traveled around, traveled across Europe, hitchhiking, played reporter. What's the problem? I mean, I could come to New York not knowing anybody, never being been to New York, never living alone with a child. Oh, yeah! Duck cover, hang on. When I got to New York, I wanted to fuck everyone and everything. I've been living with my parents for so long, it's like I retired with them. And the energy of New York just got into my loins. First, it was the fire eater that had been a semi-seeing him in San Francisco who became the source of the menage a trois. Then I dated his best friend, who was the veterinarian enema king of Detroit. Then I dated the Israeli Zionist whose mother shared my name. He wrote me poetry and tried to get me to take a mikveh every night. But he worked in a porno shop, so I don't know. Go figure. Then the gypsy with full body tattoos who claims to be related to Bob Dylan. Then there was the harmonica player who was visiting from San Jose nursing his father who had too much cocaine. Then there was the Scottish Buddhist. Then the Swiss single father, also Buddhist. Crazy as they all were, I learned something from them above and beyond the sex. No, it was the sex. I found solace in fucking, writing, fucking, the idea of fucking. I mean, Roman created, there was this loss, this dire longing, this mother need. My first apartment was so small that when somebody spent the night, Roman, sweet sleeping Roman, would be rolled out in his crib into the kitchen. Maybe we should talk. If you are a demon, then I have a feeling with you I want to walk. Mothers just want to fuck. Mothers just want to grind. Mothers are not kind. Mothers just want to be there to remind you. Mothers don't have time to mind you. Of you, stretch marks in full view, liquid gold dripping onto you. Welfare mama, much the wiser, call me a fraud, dare to despise me, but I dare you to hold and I'm tired of these men stuck within their brain stems, unable to attend, disabled by reason, attention deficit. Mothers just want to fuck, mothers just want to grind, mothers just want to unwind, mothers just want some, mothers just want some, mothers just want some, mothers just want some love. When I applied for welfare, I was in between my first and second year in graduate school. We had no money, and the only way we were surviving besides emergency food stamps, food lines, was when I had a job at the newspaper reviewing kid-friendly restaurants. We'd eat these $100 meals, gratis, and survive on the leftovers the rest of the week. Okay, at first I tried telling the welfare folks the truth, that I was in graduate school, that I was working, but the costs of childcare were just too much. All I wanted was supplemental income. Hello, that was not a concept to them. They want you to crawl. They want you to beg. And you do. And by the time it's over, you have earned that money, and it is a thin line that keeps you from getting the booze or the first plane out of New York City. I was turned down the first time because the social worker said even though some of their recipients went to college, NYU was too rich an institution. I went insane. I grabbed the papers from her hand. I said, even though NYU is rich, I certainly am not. I'm coming back, and I'm going to lie. That's what you want me to do. The woman looked at me in the eye, and she said, don't tell anyone you talk to me. So I went back and became the person they wanted you to become. Hunched over some, maybe drooling, tough but fragile. I made this glaze in front of my face, sort of this disappearing act. My social worker keeps encouraging me to go to college. I say, gee, do you think I could really go to a place like NYU? And he tells me, oh sure. But it's really hard to get into, so don't be disappointed. Okay. I'm like them. I can pretend. I went to the preacher, he told me a joke. I went to the farmer, he looked down my throat. I went to the doctor, he sang out a loud note. And I quote, this kingdom is as mighty as a goat. I went to the teacher, she said, choose well. I went to the sheriff, he said, right in hell. I went to the cook, she let out a loud howl. Ow! She said, my friend, this world is getting mighty foul. I went to the gambler, I went to the thief. They got down on their knees and they begged, pretty please. They said, don't take away my money or my fees. They said, my soul's already been burned. Let me keep what I've earned. And I turned. Didn't take me long to realize that no matter how cute Roman was, no one was going to live with us. So, they wanted no housing for graduate students with kids. So after about a month, I secured the apartment, and I was the leaseholder. First apartment around the corner from the projects on Avenue D. A few tenants before me, a man had disappeared completely. The next door neighbors heard a scream, the police were there within moments, but the body was gone. 60 Minutes did a special on this. The woman who lived there right after the incident was in her first year of the same graduate program that I was in. The but she dropped out after her first year. However, hang on, I was determined not to be cursed by this apartment. Though I did look up at the ceiling a number of times, expecting a hand to drop out of the air conditioning grill at any moment. Then Roman's babysitter's son's throat got slashed by a 12-year-old. Someone around the corner from me was shot, and I decided it was time to move. So after piling what I could in Roman's portable crib, we moved our stuff down 7th Street into the new apartment. The wheel on the crib broke off after the 7th trip. Ping! Just flew right off. And we lost Ernest Hemingway's The Sun Also Rises. Just fell through the cracks of the crib, not big enough for a baby to get its head stuck, but big enough for Papa Hemingway. In my new apartment, I fell in love with the bookshelf on the wall. It had previously been the landlord's apartment, with crucifixes covering the ceiling. And because the building is largely Jewish and he was anti-Semitic, he collected the rent of the club. One day, they found his body in the basement. We have a new landlord now. Jack and Seymour live next door. Jack is a retired postal worker. Seymour is some kind of guy from a British novel. You know, up in the attic, hair. They've lived in that apartment with their mother for 34 years. The mother died the week I moved in. I was cursed. I was cursed. When one of the many roommates of mine ran a brothel in my apartment when I went home to California for Christmas, I was convinced that I had carried the earthquake with me. That I was the fault, and that I transported it from California. There was nothing to hang on to. My God, I was turning 27 years old. I had a black candle party for Kurt Cobain's suicide. He was 27. I was 27. I knew exactly where he was going to. And where I was coming from. Kurt Cobain's body was found by an electrician who was installing a security system in his house. Now, what the hell was that for telling? Baby poison ground. Hell, come on. Then, courting disaster, I fell in a crash. For a long time, Roman seemed to be my eternal companion. But after a dry spell, I fought love. But since he lived in the room next door, it's kind of intoxicating. Too intoxicating to resist. Everything I own is broken. The old folks are all croaking. I don't even have an oak to tie my yellow ribbon round. I don't know if you've got a soul, but you're the only one who laughs at my jokes. And there's some good if I just look, and it's you I found. I lost my subway token and I got trapped in Hoboken. My parents haven't spoken to me since I crashed the car. But I know that I'll make a truce, 'cause I'm kind of fond of the abuse, and life is beautiful with you. I got my hair permed by a slob. He made me look like corn on the cob. In the mirror I see an ugly me. Be my reflection, won't you? No exit till you lie me the truth. My student loans are rising and I got pinched by some wise guy. The Weather Channel's advising that we don't leave our homes. But if you and I were marooned on some island, I know that we'd be smiling. And hey, I never did find out if you had a soul. I don't give a hoot anyhow. His name was Detroit. He was as rigid as a pool cue that needed chalking sometimes. He was a whippet survivor. He had the body like Keith Richards. Richard, and he himself was a virtual drugstore. He survived on Kiev and McDonald's. His hair was like charred hot summer grass, or like a chimney sweep brush. He was putridly anemic, and he was a hard shell to crack, as I found out. He did not adore me. And this seemed to be the running of my obsession. But he was in love with a woman who had been a lesbian. And after he left, I cleaned my ears with the Q-tips he left behind. Christine, and no I don't want to lick Christine. My shrink tells me I don't love you, that I just want to be you. Suck up your chemical affection from you, I have to wean. And no, I don't want to lick Christine. Find myself in a sexy situation. Please myself, laceration. Pitter patter, what does it matter? I am all alone, who's to shatter? I shudder, I mutter, and I think about Christine. Christine and crystal methadine. Now, but even if our clits are clacking and the clouds are rolling by, swing's not hanging on this veranda. But don't fret, I still will disrobe you of your fish scales corset. Troubleshoots and wet dreams have their day. When she's wet, she's a star. When she's dry, she ain't. Harmony divine, receptacle polite, shelter from standing up, falling down, living up, pirate privates and swordless ladies. Sad, sad, sad. Mistress quickly, mistress gone. I've been bleaching the walls since you've been gone. The sink, the door handles, a pair of Goodwill jeans. With Christine, you don't need Vaseline. When she's wet, she's a star. When she's dry, she ain't. Christine, you're the lusty dream. Christine, you're the ice in my spleen. Christine, when I first came to New York, that I was going to marry either David Byrne or Adam Sandler. Likely is that. But Detroit worked at Kinko's, where often David Byrne came in. A ballistic raging howler, so I decided I didn't want to marry David Byrne. But I never dreamed that I would run into Adam Sandler in front of my apartment. Love in my lap, delusions, rapture. Then he was there, he was looking lost, and I was with my father. And I said to Adam, why, Adam Sandler? Nonchalantly, like we were high school buddies. He turns around, and I'm about to inquire about his marital status, when my father, realizing it's Saturday night, and probably Adam's only Saturday night off, he hurries me away. Adam immediately puts on his freak guard, duck cover, hang on, and my brush, my soul, is over. I since have pawned off that soul and acquired another, so losing Adam Sandler on the corner of 7th and 2nd in hindsight was probably a blessing. And you know what they say, you can't find a good man, raise one. Robert and I made up this poem. I look at the ceiling, for now it's my sky. The air and space around me, that's where I fly. I look at you, and you are my sun. And inside my belly, I've got the moon on the belly. When Roman first came to New York, he kept asking me where's the moon. And I wasn't 100% sure that there was a moon over New York City. But one night, when I was exhausted after a long day of grocery shopping, a stroller piled up with food, he pointed to a was Roman.
Oh no.
If he got up, which he often did, everything would topple. Now on this day, I put him to the test. I had a carton of eggs in my hand. I was firm. And I said to this 18-month-old, you hold these eggs in your mouth. You do not get up, and you do not break them. This was like giving someone dynamite. But I was desperate for his help. He said, okay, Mom. The plastic membrane bags kept slipping off the stroller, stretching to their utmost. Roman and I kept chatting, and I kept praying that his breakfast would stay whole. I believe if those eggs had broken, I would probably have given up completely. Roman held them tightly, and we walked home under the newfound moon. He was my family, my bodhisattva, and we were going to make it, leaning on eggs. We would survive the shakes, the quakes, the cracks, the gaps. Oscar Wilde once said, delusions are reality. Then delusions must be partial reality, and I am for living in partial reality. Making sense is highly overrated. And if survival means being prepared for the unprepared, our chances are excellent. I got a courtesy call from a hotel courtesy phone from my courteous lover named Kurt. We didn't talk long, only wanted to say was could he please, pretty please, get a courteous lay? Well, I curtsy out of courtesy, and sometimes I wash my hands before I eat, and when I steal my brother's CDs, I try to give them back in one piece. But if you want to flirt with me, you gotta do more than look under my skirt, see? And that's just old-fashioned courtesy. Don't ask me to do the laundry. It puts me in a quandary. I can't separate the darks from brights. The colors bleed on me. Maybe you can depend on the least to teach you to be polite. But I need more than a Billy in the middle of the night. Well, I curdle at the thought of courting love, like cheese past its expiration. I can't be anyone's courtesan. I've been hurt too long. I've lost my courage, lost my nerve. I'm probably cursed. But I may be alone, yeah, I'll maintain. I've learned to wear my rubbers in the rain. You may be lost, you may be searching, but don't come to me to be part of that purging. But I'll carry your books for thee, only 'cause I like books, you see.